Hey guys, and welcome to another weekly reading guide. Today we're going to cover the vocab grammar of 3 readings, which are los sábados, aire fresco, and acampando. So before you move on, make sure you head on over to the blog, thelanguagemovement.com, and you print out your PDF version of these readings so that you can follow along while you listen. So we're going to go over some vocab, we're going to go over some grammar, and then we will read the readings and the comprehension questions and the personal questions. So grab some paper, grab your readings, and let's start. All right, we have 15 words to cover today. The first one is se. Now you've probably seen 2 versions of this word. There's se and then there's se with the accent. So the one that we're going over is se with the accent, which is the conjugation of the verb saber, which is to know. Now there are 2 verbs that mean to know. There's saber and conocer. Saber means to know, as in know a fact, know information. And conocer is more to be familiar with, as in to know a person or to know a place because you've been there. So this is saber, to know, as in know information. And this is the present conjugation of the yo form. Okay? Now this verb is actually pretty regular in the present except in the yo form. So it's going to be yo sé, and then the rest is going to be tú sabes, él sabe, nosotros sabemos, ellos saben. So the rest are pretty regular. Number 2, empieza. This is the present conjugation in the he, she, it form of the verb empezar, which is to start, to begin. Now this verb is a stem changing verb. That means that the E changes, the second E changes to IE when you conjugate it in the present tense. So it's going to be yo empiezo, tú empiezas, él empieza, nosotros empezamos, ellos empiezan. So if you noticed the pronunciation there, it does not change in the nosotros form. So a stem changing verb, the stem changes, the vowel changes to another vowel. In this case, it's E to IE in everything except nosotros. Okay? Now, what you might want to know about this verb is if you're talking about a noun, as in like class is starting or the party is starting, then you just conjugate it regularly. Like empieza la fiesta, empieza la clase. But if you want to talk about starting to do something, as in you're adding a verb after the verb empezar, then you need the preposition a. So starting to do something. So if you want to say, I start to walk, then you say, empiezo a caminar. Okay? Number 3, durmiendo. Durmiendo is the present progressive of the verb dormir, which is to sleep. So think of the word in English like dormant, so something that's sleeping. Now dormir is usually another stem changing verb. So the O usually changes to UE when you conjugate it in the present tense. So if you want to say I sleep, you say duermo. Now this is important to know when it comes to the present progressive, because the O is also going to change in the present progressive. So the O is actually going to change to just you. So to make our present progressive, we have D, the O changes to U, then we have the R, and then we have the M. And remember, to make the present progressive just means that instead of saying to sleep, you want to say sleeping. So you're just basically adding the ing in Spanish. So we have DURM. We are going to drop our infinitive ending, the IR, and and we're going to add our ing in Spanish, which for an IR verb is iendo. So you just add it to the M, and then you have durmiendo, which is sleeping. Number 4, ya que. It means now that. It can also mean since. So pretty easy. Number 5, fanática. It means fan. So think of the English word fanatic. You really like something. So fanática, fanático, depending on the gender of the person. Number 6, refrescarse. This verb means to cool down, and it is a reflexive verb in this case. So it's conjugated regularly like an AR verb, but when you conjugate it, remember you have to do something with that SE. So you're going to take the SE, you're going to put it in front of the verb, and you're going to match it to whoever is doing the action. So it's going to be me refresco, te refrescas, se refresca, nos refrescamos, se refrescan. Number 7, colgar. This verb means to hang up. Now, in the reading, I use it in the infinitive form, but if you want to conjugate it in the present tense, you just have to know that it's a stem changing verb. So the O changes to UE. So it's going to be yo cuelgo, etc. Number 8, sombra. Sombra means shade. It's a feminine noun. And an easy way to remember it is think of somebody who is somber, right? So they're kind of down, they're feeling blue. So not like happy and light. So shade, something dark. Number 9, podría. This is the verb poder, to be able to or to can, and it is conjugated in the conditional tense. And it is in the yo form. However, the yo form is also similar to the he, she, it form. But in the reading, I use it in the yo form. And remember, the conditional just means in English, you're saying kind of like, I would do this, or he would do this, etc. Now, the verb poder is a little irregular in the conditional. So usually you just use your infinitive and you add your conditional endings. But with the verb poder, you're going to have, your stem is going to be PODR, and then you're going to add your regular endings. So it's going to be podría, podrías, podría, again, podríamos, podrían. Now the important thing to know is that there is an accent on the I. Number 10, otoñal. Now, in my readings, I've been talking a lot about otoño, which is fall. So otoño is the noun, otoñal is the adjective. So it just means autumnal, so relating to fall. Number 11, this is another present progressive. So the infinitive of this verb is manejar, which means to drive, and manejando just means driving. So it's showing an action that is happening now. Now this is pretty easy. It's an AR verb, so all you have to do is you take your infinitive, you take off the AR, and you're going to add your ing in Spanish, which for an AR verb is ANDO. So it's manejando, which is driving. Number 12, tienda. Now, you've probably seen this word to talk about a store, la tienda. But it can also be used to talk about a tent, as in a tent you go camping in. And it's feminine again. Number 13, inolvidable. This comes from the verb olvidar, which I think we went over last week. So make sure you listen to that one. Olvidar means to forget. So if we take the verb olvidar and we change it to olvidable, in English it's forgettable. So in both languages, you're just adding the able to make it an adjective. But to make it the opposite, So if you want to talk about something being forgettable, but now you want to make it the opposite, in English you add un in front of the adjective. In Spanish, we're going to add in in front of the adjective. And that is how we end up with inolvidable. So something that is not forgettable. Number 14, dije. This is the verb decir, which is to say, and it is conjugated in the preterite tense, and it is in the yo form. Now, this verb is irregular in the preterite tense, so the infinitive is decir, but in the preterite, the stem is going to be dij, and then you're going to add your endings. And the endings are also a little weird mix between AR endings and ER and IR endings. So it's going to be yo dije, tú dijiste, él, ella dijo, nosotros dijimos, y ellos dijeron. And number 15, which might be the most complicated one, is díganme, which also comes from the verb decir, which is to say, but it's the imperative form, which is just the command form. Now, there's a couple versions of commands, and there's different ways to do commands. It just depends on who you are commanding and whether you're commanding them to do something or you're commanding them to not do something. So in this verb, we're using it to command a group of people. So it's going to be the ustedes form. And we're commanding them to do something. So it's going to be an affirmative command. Now, to make an affirmative command of a verb, you have to use the subjunctive form of that verb. And to make the subjunctive form of a verb, your stem is going to come from the conjugation, the present tense conjugation of that verb in the yo form. So if we have the verb decir, which is to say, we first have to go to the present tense conjugation of that verb in the yo form, which is digo, because it's a go verb. So it's digo. So now that we have that conjugation, to make it our stem, we're going to take off the ending, which is the O. So now we just have dig. And now we use our stem to make it the subjunctive of that verb in the ustedes form, because that's who we're commanding. So because it's an IR verb, the ending is actually AN for ustedes. So we add our AN and now we have digan. So DIGAN. Now we have to think, who are you telling this to? Are you telling this to me, to you, to them? And in this case, we're saying it to me. So we have to add our indirect object pronoun, which is me. And because it's a command, you are going to attach the indirect object pronoun at the end of the verb. And you're going to make it one really long word, which is díganme. So tell me. And with that, let's move on to the readings and the questions. Reading number 1. Los sábados. Ya que es otoño, eso significa que sé exactamente qué voy a estar haciendo todos los sábados. Nuestro día empieza al mediodía con el primer juego de fútbol americano y termina a las 11 de la noche con el último juego de fútbol americano. A veces vienen amigos a verlos con nosotros, a veces no, pero siempre tenemos a los gatos como compañía en el sofá durmiendo al lado de nosotros. Ya que estoy empezando a entender un poquito más sobre las reglas y los jugadores del deporte, ahora sé cuáles equipos me gustan y cuáles no. Pero claro que siempre voy a ser una fanática de Georgia Southern porque es mi alma mater. Comprehension questions. Número 1. Describe un fin de semana típico para mí en 3 oraciones. Número 2. ¿Cuál es mi equipo de fútbol americano favorito y por qué? Personal questions. Número 1. Describe un fin de semana típico para ti en 3 oraciones. Número 2. ¿Tienes un deporte y un equipo favorito? ¿Cuál es y por qué? Reading number 2. Aire fresco. Ya que el clima ha empezado a refrescarse un poco, estamos pasando más tiempo afuera. Una de nuestras cosas favoritas de hacer es colgar nuestra hamaca al frente de la casa y relajarnos un poco. Tenemos suerte que hay bastantes árboles en nuestro patio que ofrecen sombra y brisa y aire fresco. En los días nublados como hoy, yo podría pasar todo el día sentada allí leyendo un libro o tomando una siesta. ¿Qué haces tú para disfrutar de este clima otoñal? Comprehension questions. Número 1. ¿Qué hacemos ahora que hace más frío? Número 2. ¿Para qué usamos los árboles que tenemos? Personal questions. Número 1. ¿Tienes una hamaca? ¿La usas? ¿Cuándo y por qué? Número 2. ¿Cuál es tu cosa favorita de hacer en los días nublados? Reading number 3. Acampando. Cuando hicimos nuestro viaje manejando de Georgia a California este verano, nos tomó como 8 días y 7 noches para llegar allá. Cada de esas noches acampamos en una tienda, en un parque diferente, en un estado diferente. Fue una experiencia inolvidable, pero a veces incómoda también, ya que en el momento tenía 20 semanas de embarazo. Después de ese viaje, le dije a Aire que no iba a volver a acampar por el resto del embarazo. Y ahora díganme ustedes, ¿qué creen que voy a hacer este fin de semana? Comprehension questions. Número 1. ¿Por qué estuve un poco incómoda durante nuestro viaje a California? Número 2. ¿Qué dije que no iba a hacer otra vez? Personal questions. Número 1. ¿Cuál ha sido tu experiencia con acampar? Número 2. ¿Cuál es una cosa que no quieres hacer otra vez? All right, guys, that is all. And remember, if you need the English translations, you can also find that in the PDF version of this weekly reading guide. So again, make sure you go and print it out in case you need it. And I will see you next week. Bye.